all existence. Okay, back to Joseph. Now it says in Genesis, hopefully you kept your place, because I didn't. Genesis. And who remembers the chapter? Very good, just a test. Okay, now verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he had been born to him in his old age. He made him a richly ornamented robe for him. A richly now the word, now it depends on your translation. The word in Hebrew is ketonet, which means basically an outer coat, a cloak, an outer coat. Ketonet there was an inner garment, and this was the outer garment. But the whole word is ketonet pasim, which now pas means literally is linked to palms. Now one translation says it was a long sleeve coat because it speaks of palms. But also it means spread out, so it could mean a spread out, a coat of many widths. But pas also can mean pieces. A coat of many pieces. That's where we get, in English, we get the picture of him with a coat of many colors. Most likely it was. Most likely it was a coat that was sewn of many cloths, many colors, many pieces, many different things. Now, that was a sign back then. A multicolored, multi-pieced coat was a sign of one who was the chief, who was like in charge of the others. It was like of the chief. It was the one of like a royalty within the tribe. So he is here that this shadow of Messiah is wearing this glorious coat. What does that speak of? Well, it's interesting because one of the signs of God is many colors. How so? Well, it says, I saw God, and I saw this throne, and I saw all the colors of the rainbow around it. In fact, even in the Old Testament, even in the book of Revelation, it speaks in a vision of God. It speaks of all the colors of the rainbow. One of the signs of the Lord given was that of the rainbow. And so here is the Son. He's clothed in glory. And he is and the thing is that the ultimate picture, it's a picture of that Messiah. The Son of God is the glory of God. He is clothed with all. I mean, it's like he's the Lord of all, not one color, every color, the rainbow, the world. He's the Lord of everything. He's the Lord of the universe. He's the Lord not just of the Jews, not just of the Gentiles. He's the Lord of everything. He's the Lord and that's why if he's not the Lord of all in our life, he's not the Lord at all. He's one or the other. He's the Lord of every part of life, not the religious part. He's the part of every part of life. In him, all things, what does it say? In him, all things come together. In him, all things hold together. The glory of Messiah, the glory of Israel, that he is glorious. When it says glorify the Lord, you're not giving him something he doesn't have. You're just acknowledging what he does when you glorify him. This is the coat of many colors, which symbolize that he is the one that holds everything together. He's the unity of life. And that matches up with Colossians 1:16-17. In him, all things consist. The Father, what did it say? John 17:4, the Lord is praying, and he says, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had before the world began. Before the world began, the Messiah was clothed in glory. Clothed in glory. It says also, that coat also represented all authority, and so that is Messiah as well. Now in Genesis it says, and his brothers, verse 4, saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, so they hated him. They hated him. In one of the interpretations, they could not say shalom to him. Now, so here you have this picture of Messiah, ultimately, the Son, and the brothers reject the Son. The brothers see him. Now, he's representing the whole thing by which they exist, really, but they reject him. And so on a very cosmic level, it's a symbol, it's a shadow of the whole creation rejecting God, the link between God and man, broken. And specifically, it is manifested in Israel, that when he came, it says he was rejected. Messiah would be rejected. And that's why even the rabbis said this is a picture. Messiah will be rejected. Some of the rabbis, they realized the Bible was saying it was going to happen. Here is the reason, here's the link between the world and God, and he is rejected. That link is broken, is rejected. And who is the one who sent Joseph to them? The Father. The Father sends the Son. Now, look at verse 5. Now, Joseph, as we know, he was a dreamer. He had a dream. And when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. Now, why do they hate him so much? Well, obviously they're jealous. But it gets worse, because he said to them, listen to the dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose up and stood upright while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. This is not helping. You wonder, was he looking at, was he realizing what's going on when he's saying, his brother said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he said. But then he had another dream. This one's worse. He told it to his brothers. Listen, he said, I had another dream. This time, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing down to me. Now, when you're reading this the first time, you're saying, what is it with this guy? One, he's a tattletale. Secondly, he seems like he's got a real problem. But it's not any problem. You see what's happening? He had the dream. He didn't come up with a dream. God gave him the dream. God gave him the dream because it's going to be a picture of exactly what's going to happen in their lives in the end. In the end, it's going to come true. But he didn't realize that, but he just said this. The sun and the moon bowing down. And that's a picture of like the mother, the father, the family, and the 11 sons bowing down to him. Now that's a picture of what's going to be fulfilled. But on a deeper level, and the shadow, this is an amazing picture. Because what you're seeing a picture of is the whole universe bowing down. It is written in an ancient Jewish writing from this